Hey guys, it's Angie. I just wanted to do a quick um, video about finding alternatives to snack foods. I've been on this last little while because I know I'm getting closer to my surgery date. I've done my 3 appointments with the nurse, the dietitian, and the therapist. Excuse me. I also have the vitamins that the nurse had prescribed me, and I'm taking those now. And I did a video on that yesterday, the day before. And I'm also doing a video on my other channel about changing your lifestyle, changing things to better make you feel better. Like, I want to be in a position where I'm not taking the medications for the diseases that have come along with the weight gain, but I know that I will need to be taking medications afterwards. But they're supplements, or they're vitamins and mineral supplements. And I'm trying to get into the mindset of it being totally different than taking actual synthetic medications with side effects that, are harmful to your body. I believe, and I've said this before, that sometimes the medication for the disease is worse than the disease itself. Sorry, I had a little bit of problem getting my mouth around that word. But so back to my original uh, thought. It's hard for me. I like chips. I like plain Ruffles chips. I've always been in. I don't know if it's the saltiness or the crunchiness, but to me that is a comfort food, and it's a crave food that you get a craving for something salty, and it's my go-to thing. Lately, I have been eating seaweed snacks. They're salty. They're not as salty as chips. I think there's 30 milligrams of salt in the seaweed snacks, and there's like 300 and some odd milligrams of salt in chips. So it is definitely a big step down from with the salt intake. Also, there's no trans fats in the seaweed snacks. There's calcium and iron and other vitamins and minerals in seaweed, and there's not in chips. So, um, I have been using the seaweed snacks in place of the chips. I mentioned it on a previous video that seaweed snacks are a good source of iodine and vitamin C and calcium and iron. Um, you can't get any of that in chips, so that is my substitute for chips. It's crunchy and it's salty goodness without all the, drawbacks of being a junk food. Plus, I went and I got popcorn, 44 bags of popcorn at Costco, and it only cost us $7.99 for the big box, so it'll last me forever. And I'll pop a bag and I'll share it with my boyfriend at nighttime before bed so that I'm not hungry going to bed. I've been eating soups and stews because, according to the dietitian, you should get used to eating liquid form diets for a while. Even afterwards, it's easier on your pouch after surgery to have stuff that's more liquid than it is chunky, because you remember the process is changed after surgery. Your digestive system will be completely different, and your body has to get used to digesting this food again. So you start out with liquids, you go to like thicker liquids, and then baby food consistency, and then regular food. And you do yourself a big favor if your food is almost mostly chopped up for you, and you don't have to chew it forever in order to get it to process better, and for you to get more out of it. I'm not suggesting juicing because the dietitian had mentioned that juicing is a bad idea, because you'll end up getting way more calories than you're supposed to juicing. It's very, very difficult to regulate calories when you're juicing like 4 apples and your portion size is maybe half an apple. Like it's a lot easier to slip down into high calorie when you're juicing than it is when you're actually eating. And plus, you need the fiber because, as I said, your digestive system has changed. So, I encourage you, if you're in pre op right now, to think about changing things now. Think about what it is that your comfort food is, what it is that like if it's a sweet, find an alternative to the sweet. Diabetic candy is not as high in calories and it's not as high in sugar, but it's still sweet. You can take and you can make diabetic. You can take a regular muffin mix or a regular cupcake recipe and make it a diabetic recipe, and you cut your intake of sugar in half, or you can switch to a sweetener like Splenda in place of the sugar, and it's still just as good. I've baked with Splenda. I use Splenda now. I don't use sugar at all. So, yeah, and stuff like that. Switch to 1% milk instead of 2% milk, in your coffee. Little tiny changes over the next little while when you're doing these hoops for your pre-op will be a big difference later on because you won't even notice the change. You'll get into a routine, it'll become a habit, and you won't notice it as a big deal. It'll simple little things at a time. Don't overwhelm yourself because I've made the mistake of doing that in the past. I was going to Herbal Magic for a long time, and it's like you're going from eating regular meals to portioning out everything, and it's a huge change. And don't look at your lifestyle as a diet because us heavier people have lived on diets for most of our lives. And it doesn't work because you get in the diet mindset and you think that you're depriving yourself of something, and that's when you sabotage. Mentally, you're sabotaging yourself because you want something because you've been told you can't have it. So, we are cognitive beings, and in order to get our lives back from this brink that we seem to be on, the precipice of death because of our weight and the illnesses that go along with the weight, it's not as hard and as daunting as you might think. It doesn't matter how heavy you are. Make little changes and do it for you. Don't do it because somebody says you had to. Like it helps to know that you're not doing this for anybody else but yourself, and you've got nobody else to answer to but yourself. Because that's where the stubbornness of human beings comes in, is when we're told that we have to do something. We resent it and then we fight against it, even if we don't mean to. And, anyways, so that's my little spiel for today, and I hope that you, on your journey, that you find everything that you're looking for and that your health and your happiness comes along with it. I'm here and I'm looking for answers as well. So anybody who has any ideas or any comments, leave them below. Subscribe and share my videos with people who that are going through the same thing. Make videos of your own. Sometimes doing this video blogging thing is really cathartic, and it helps get the stuff out that's in your head that you don't feel like you can talk to anybody else. It's like talking to God or talking to a dead relative. You're not being judged, and even if you are, who cares? You wouldn't know it anyways. So I hope everything goes well for you, and I'll see you again. Bye for now.